Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Japanese IP panel. My name is Marlene Sharp. I will be your tour guide for this adventure, and it will be an adventure because we've got 3 characters up here. Like I said, my name is Marlene Sharp. I am not Japanese, but I have worked with a lot of Japanese IPs through the years. I am an alum of Sega and Level 5 and Bandai, and 2 out of 3 of these guys I have worked with on various things, and I am honored to be moderating the panel today on these fabulous franchises that we will talk about. But first, let's get introductions underway. I'll start with Chiyako Slawinski.
Hi, my name is Chiyako Slawinski. I came here about 20 years ago from Japan, so I'm 100% Japanese, but I got SKI because I married this Polish guy, so. So should I introduce my background?
Yeah. Tell us your backstory.
So I came here to become like some kind of bridge between Japan and the U.S. entertainment industry. I have a passion about film all the time, so I wanted to become somebody to bridge that culture. Then I came here, and I start working for Kadokawa USA, then working for the adaptation film. So originally Japanese film, but make into American film, that kind of work. So that since then, I'm trying to work for that kind of adaptation story and based on Japanese IP, bringing it here for the global screen. So now I'm working for Pac-Man. It's a famous game IP, Yellow Circle 1. So we are working on a live action film with that IP.
And another super secret project
super secret,
that she can't talk about,
classic
but
game.
Equally as exciting as Pac-Man. Alexander.
So my name is Alexander Lee. I say journey into Japanese IP is a long one, actually. So I was born and raised in San Francisco, Bay Area, but I spent some time in Taiwan growing up. And as you know, Taiwan is very Japanese influenced, so I grew up with Dragon Ball and Doraemon when I was really young. This is in the 80s. I'm dating myself now. So I had a love for Japanese IP at a very young age. But my career in entertainment IP, I want to say I've been in the industry for about 16 years. I started off in video games as well with Electronic Arts, doing brand partnerships and licensing for The Sims. And eventually I transitioned into doing AAA titles such as Mass Effect, EA Sports, FIFA, Dead Space, Need for Speed. And it was an amazing time of my life. I was a gamer, and also just being in an industry that I absolutely love, that I'm a part of, really fueled my desire to make compelling product, right? So after that, I spent some time in mobile games with Supercell, with Clash of Clans and Clash Royale. And then I got into anime, where I worked at Viz Media, working on Naruto, One Punch Man, JoJo's, Death Note, Doraemon. So that was a full circle moment for myself. And then went to Crunchyroll, where I was managing Jujutsu Kaisen, Chainsaw Man, Spy Family, among other contemporary titles. And now I'm at Toho International, managing the iconic Godzilla franchise.
Awesome. Vincent.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll go next. Hi, everyone. My name is Vincent Imaoka. So I originally came from the anime industry. I lived in Tokyo, but for about 5 years, working on a couple of domestic anime properties at a company called Dreamlink Entertainment, or DLE. Very domestic properties. One of the properties I worked on was called Takanotsume, which was actually with Toho back in the day, but I did that for about 5 years before then I transitioned over into the U.S. toy industry. So after that, I went over to Hasbro, worked mainly on Japanese properties, Transformers. I was part of the acquisition for Power Rangers when we bought Saban. And then obviously with a couple of entertainment properties like Marvel, Disney Princess, Star Wars, etc. So a lot of the big hit players that made Hasbro its money back then. But after that, I got invited to join Netflix for a really quick stint where I went back into the anime industry, worked on Master of the Universe, Scott Pilgrim, which just came out, Cyberpunk. So essentially my role was getting these US properties and then transitioning them into Japanese anime or more broadly defined anime, the anime style look. But after doing that, I found out that my passion was really in toys. So I went back to the toy industry, joined Viz Media really quickly, not at the same time as Alexander. He left and then I joined in, so we just missed each other. But then also went over to Sega Toys very recently, where I was doing things like Bakugan for them, which was a long-running property. But now I'm over at Paramount Pictures, where I've gone back much more into the U.S. industry for toys overall, where I'm now leading Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Star Trek, Nickelodeon properties for them. But that still travels very much into Japanese anime, where we're doing a couple of like mashups and things between anime properties and US properties, along with just Japanese-based toy partners that we're working with very closely right now too, across a lot of US IP.
You will notice that there is a recurring theme of toys with all of the panelists and in this topic that we will be discussing at length today. So keep that in mind. Toys will come up a lot, and there's really not a clear line of demarcation, right, between toys and Japanese IPs. And it's moving into, or it has actually moved into the American space as well. Barbie, hello. But anyway, I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention. And speaking of the U.S. entertainment market, I think we can all agree that there's been a bit of a tumultuous time the last year with the strikes and AI and streaming wars and so forth. So with the U.S. market in such upheaval, where does that leave Japanese IPs? How do they fit? How are they adapting or changing, or what do you think, Vincent?
I'll start there really quickly. So the good thing about, talk about the strikes very recently was Japanese anime, because it's international, it wasn't affected by that. So Japanese anime right now in 2024, and maybe even a little more over into 2025, are really well positioned to gain that market. And what we're seeing with a lot of anime fans through exposure to new properties is they don't really leave. Once they become anime fans, they don't stop becoming anime fans. They are continuously part of anime. They then go out and branch over into other things. So, you may come in at One Piece or Dragon Ball, but then you'll then going back to JoJo's Bizarre Adventure or anything else in a broader sense. So we're never losing anime fans. We're only gaining anime fans.
Yeah, one thing I'll say about anime, it really benefited during the pandemic era, right, where everyone was locked down, so a lot of the major studios weren't pushing out real content, engaging content. There was no theatrical releases, so everyone was, quarantined, locked in, but it really gave anime a platform, and that platform is accessibility, right? So, again, dating myself, but when I grew up, I had to take a bus to Japantown and hopefully find a bootleg VHS that might have been fan sub, because I don't read Japanese, to really consume the content that I enjoy. And there is, I guess for the core, there is a little bit of a, a good story behind the hunt, finding the content.
Yes,
right?
the treasure hunt is,
the treasure
is
hunt
part
is
of the
part
fun.
of it. It's
yes,
like I'm a weathered veteran of anime, but
it's like thrifting.
yeah, but today you don't have to do that. You just log into your mom's Netflix, sign on to Crunchyroll, and the content is accessible. So the accessibility of the content really showed that anime really is not niche. It's good content. It didn't have a lot of competition with Marvel or DC at that time, and it kind of continued. So I would say for the future of Japanese content and in anime in this respect is accessibility, like making it available to as many people as possible, and not behind a paywall. Because if you think about Disney content, it's accessible all over the place. And now you have algorithms that will suggest content. Well, if you look at anime as just this niche genre, it's not a genre, it's a medium. They tell stories of men and women and drama and suspense and thriller. It's a medium, it's not a genre. If you look at it in a box, it will be in a box, right? So I would love for anime to be looked at as not a genre moving forward.
Yeah, actually, Japanese IP is not only anime, and
True.
also like more major, even in anime, like Pokemon or like these are different stories.
Yeah, the comedic,
So,
kid-friendly, that's one.
but also
Manifestation.
like Pac-Man or some other Mario, those IPs are already embedded our culture. I mean, U.S. culture or all over the world. Then they are not lazy to build the IPs. You know, Mario, like every few years they have a new game, so Nintendo did a great job to build the IPs. So Pac-Man as well. So we have to reboot every few years to make that IP alive. This is a time like anime also alive, Anime Expo every year. So we have to support and build the IPs.
I guess the challenge with some of those heritage IPs is serving the existing fan base, but then also making some innovations to bring in the new generation. It's a delicate balance, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd say so. So let's just take Godzilla. We're about to celebrate the 70 years of Godzilla as an IP, right? So living in the United States, my exposure to Godzilla was the Charles Barkley commercial. Anyone seen that one? Am I dating myself again? Okay, so it's Charles Barkley dunking on Godzilla, right? Completely, mind-blowingly crazy. But for me, growing up, I had no accessibility to Godzilla other than this commercial. So Godzilla for me was sneaker culture. It was a Nike commercial, right? It was also basketball. Then when I went to high school, the main theme of Godzilla was remixed into the Simon Says hip-hop track. So Godzilla for me was hip-hop. So you need to be able to globalize by localizing the content. Godzilla is celebrated across the globe differently. It means different things to different countries. So for me, it's all these different subcultures. So for Godzilla 70th, we're gonna take a page out of that strategy. We're gonna look at all the subcultures that carried Godzilla, that were these torchbearers throughout the last 70 years, and kind of re-celebrate through these lenses, but also find other subcultures, whether it be esports or skate or whatever platform it is, to kind of reach a new demographic to set up Godzilla up for the next 70 years.
Does anybody on the panel have a cautionary tale, perhaps, of an attempted reinvigoration or revival that maybe didn't go as planned?
I'll sort of go to that. I mean, it's not a specific example, but anime fans are always very cautious of what's true and genuine. There's a lot of companies right now that want to remake anime either in a new a format, either live action or a remake of an animation form. And fans really sort of need to see whether the story is true to the original or not. And if it's not true, then it doesn't really succeed. We've seen failures of that happen. Things like, don't want to put names out there, but like, Netflix and Cowboy Bebop, for example.
Or Dragon Ball Evolution.
Or Dragon Ball, yeah. We've seen these examples over and over of just like these things
Ugly
that aren't
Sonic,
true.
perhaps?
Exactly. So, I mean, that's the one thing that, fans are really gatekeepers of their content, and you really need to appeal to them first, because then there you're going to have the trickle-down effect, where if the fans love it, then they're going to go out to everybody and say, this is amazing, go watch it. So, Netflix and One Piece was an excellent example of where they really hit it gold in terms of true storytelling. They stayed true to the characters, to the overall look, and because the fans originally liked that, then everybody came in afterwards and said, okay, let's give this a chance and watch it. So it's really staying true to the content.
Chiyako, what about you? Do you have any horror stories of? Well, we can always pull out the old our old Sega war chest, and we've got some gems from there. Chiyako and I worked at Sega of America together, and
Yes.
we've collaborated many times since then. But
Yeah, after Sonic Hedgehog movie, so that my ex-boss at Sega and me started a business together now, then developing the Pac-Man. So after Sonic Hedgehog, his name is Chuck Williams. Then he was one of the producers of Sonic. So after Sonic, he got phone calls about what is next game movie. What is your next game movie? Like he opened up his reputation of game movies. So that's why he's working on Pac-Man. But Pac-Man, when he developed the Pac-Man, Bandai America guy came up to him. So we have to do something for the IP. Like that IP is gonna die. So he developed the idea, and he pitched all the things, then seems good, and we are get to go. But it wasn't easy. So after that 2 years, we struggled to get the right straight, like pitch so many times, fly twice to Japan, president, other people, all this nightmare starts. So it's complicated to get the straight Japanese.
right, and Chiyako's very modest. Chiyako and her former Sega boss, Chuck Williams, they were very instrumental in developing the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And that movie was in development for 100 years, I think. Something like that, or 100 plus years. And but Chuck and Chiyako were employees of Marza Animation Planet, which is a Sega subsidiary, and they were right there in the trenches from early stages. There was an outside group of producers who had come in and pitched a concept that Sega accepted, but it was really Chuck and Chiyako who were the official bearers of the canon for Sega. And then through the years, it got larger and larger, more cooks filled the kitchen, and Sega moved its San Francisco office to Burbank, and a variety of things happened. And but Chuck and Chiyako really saw it all. And I think through that experience, their reputations were cemented as experts in developing video game content. But
Especially from Japan.
especially from Japan. But it's not so easy because they were brought in as independent producers after their job at Sega was over. And so really, as an independent producer, oftentimes you don't get paid until something is greenlit. And the path to greenlight can be years, decades, in fact, in the case of some things. But anyway, I just wanted to pat Chiyako on the back because we've been in a lot of interesting situations together. So, dubs versus subs. You mentioned that before. Do you have an opinion?
Well, okay. So as a
changing gears a little bit.
core guy, you have to say sub, right? So I fully believe in consuming the content that it was originally created in, right? But at the same time, I do see the benefit of dubbed as well because it's more accessible.
It gives more jobs to people too.
Right,
There's a lot of work that comes from it.
But I guess for myself, I'm at a point where I'm just so busy. So I just, if it's subbed, I have to pay attention, like 100% pay attention. But yeah, but I would say sub for sure. Yeah, following answer.
Vincent?
I speak Japanese, so I don't know. No, but I mean, exactly as Alexander was saying, I think seeing something in the original language is definitely beneficial. For example, like I speak French also, but I do still need subtitles now and then. But when I watch a French movie, I always watch it in French rather than dubbed over in English. So I don't know, there's something about hearing those cultural annotations, even if you don't fully understand a language, just to see how it's delivered, how it's meant to be. I think it's really helpful, like culture-wise.
And also, especially anime, I just watched Suzume, which is kind of big movie from Japan recently. Then it's nominated for the Academy Award animation titles. So Suzume with my kids, like my kids can speak Japanese too. So we watched in Japanese. There is a lot of element hint, lots of things in the screen. I think it's probably better to watch in the dub. I understand Japanese original flavor is important, but it's probably better to watch dub because there are so beautiful, great scenes.
Nice. Let's see. I heard this question asked on the other panels today, so I'll carry on the tradition. What is something in your career that's made you really proud?
I don't know. I guess I'm proud of whatever I haven't done yet, you know?
What you haven't done?
Yeah.
Anything that you have done?
I think sticking with anime or like Japanese culture, I guess I'm proud of, you know, Power Rangers once again, being a part of that. Power Rangers is always something special. I grew up on it, but that integration of Japanese elements into a U.S. property and to make a U.S. original. Power Rangers globally is a lot larger than Super Sentai, which is what it's originally based on. And because of that, you know, having this empire and then being part of that acquisition, and then seeing obviously the new generation come on board of new Power Rangers fans, I guess just that constant, you know, showing new fans what I grew up on is always something that I'm proud of, and something I do with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles right now also, where I grew up on Ninja Turtles and now seeing the kids play with Ninja Turtle toys, you know, that's something I'm always just proud of, just like leaving on that legacy for the next generation. So that's, you know, properties never die. It's always finding that new fan base.
And also, I'm proud on your behalf, Vincent, of all the new toy inventors and up-and-comers that you discovered when you were at Hasbro. He was the liaison with all the toy geniuses of the world, and he found some really cool properties and interesting talent. So, bravo. Alexander.
So the proud moment, right?
Yes.
That's the question. Okay, so I would say working on the Naruto 20th anniversary was a really big feather in my cap, right? So I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I kind of visualized it. It took over a year planning, but the idea, just to kind of recap, it was to make some noise for Naruto, right? At that time, Naruto anime was done. Manga was done. There was no new content coming out of Naruto, and you have retailers asking me the question, what is new? Well, the answer is nothing, right? There's absolutely nothing. So if your content creator is not making new content, how are you going to keep the property alive? Well, I had to use what I could, which was leverage my licensed partners for that. So creating moments through licensed partners and collaborations, which is something that I fully believe in. Collab culture is amazing. Finding different subcultures and demographics to kind of expose to a new content, well, IP, being Naruto in this case, was a tactic that we use as strategy. So the idea was to populate a full year, which is why we called it Year of Naruto, of drops, integrations, consumer-facing shows, so that the buzz of Naruto just wouldn't die. It will just kind of keep going throughout the year, right? So at the end of it, after all the collabs, all the white label partnerships, big notable ones would be Coach Naruto with Michael B. Jordan. That was a huge one, right? Vincent and I kind of worked on the same project together at different times, but you know, Ninja Turtles Naruto, right, with the Shinobi underline. You know, another one that we kind of worked together on was Jordan Brand Zion Naruto, right? So yeah, so those were really big moments that kind of created an impact for the brand when the content creator wasn't producing anything. So keeping the property alive through an off-content year is something we're really proud of. And of course, got nominated, Naruto got nominated for Lima's Brand of the Year. We didn't win. I think we lost to like Baby Shark or something.
Something like, yeah. Nickelodeon.
Yeah, Coco Melon or Baby Shark.
Yeah.
I'm still salty about that, but I mean, but come on. But yeah, that's
Baby
a proud
who?
moment.
Yeah. No, that's quite many feathers in your cap, for sure. Chiyako, something that makes you proud.
Oh, my lack of confidence issue, so I can't even think of it. But so I came here, couldn't speak any English, came here to make it until now. Even though my movie, I'm working mainly about the development stage. Not many films are made yet. So a lot of them are on the halfway or just canceled. So I don't have much like achievement yet, but I'm
What
sure.
about Snack World?
Sure. But yeah, I hope that Shinako was a very, very proud moment for me.
Yes, of
Yes.
course. I guess on a parting note, would you guys have any advice for non-Japanese companies that want to collaborate with Japanese entertainment providers?
I would say come at it from a very authentic, genuine angle, right? So it's very, it's never good when you come in looking to harvest the demand that this IP generated, right? The question you should be asking is, what can I bring to the table that will push this brand further, right? So what access are you providing the Japanese IP? It's very easy to say, oh, I'm gonna slap Godzilla or anime, Naruto on my t-shirt and make some money off of it. But you're not really adding to the legacy of this IP. So think of it as a partnership, right? If you wanted to create something together, that's where the impact is. And fans can see that. Fans can see that you understand the property versus just logo slapping. So I would say making a priority to understand this IP rather than a vehicle to harvest demand, that's my number one advice.
And yet also understanding that most of what we're talking about here are merchandise-driven entertainment properties. The merchandise must be sold in order for the franchises to keep going. It's not like we're mostly talking about, the commercialization rather than art films here. So yeah, that is important to remember. What do you?
The one advice I always give to executives is patience on both sides of the table. Like Japanese culture and American culture are very different from each other. They both have their way of doing business, and me being on the business end, I always make sure I set up both sides that this is going to be a long conversation. Deals don't get signed overnight. Good example is like Hot Topics and Ghibli. They went back to Ghibli over and over. They kept getting said, no. It took them, 5 years, even more than that, to get the Ghibli official license to do product here in the U.S. So it's going to take a long time, but there's a lot of success stories for people that really stick with it. For even Japanese companies that want to come into the U.S. thinking, they have a big property in Japan. Everybody loves anime. It's going to be amazing. It's really, as Alexander was going back and saying, to give each property the love it deserves and to build up your fan base, it's going to be a slow process, but eventually if you stick with it, rather than just saying, oh, this didn't work out, let's move on to something next, you are going to get much more success in the long run. And we've seen that over and over and over with people that have been persistent in what they want to do, and they want to get those partnerships with the right license.
More about building the relationship rather than just a pure transaction.
Yeah, 100%. And the one other thing is, you pointed out, Japanese culture is very different, right? So overseas, creators actually have rights, right?
Oh, yeah.
So not to say that, well, actually it is very different here in the States, but it's not like you could walk up to a person at Disney and just get the rights. For Japan, the creator needs to sign off on the idea.
Yeah.
If he doesn't like the idea because you half-baked an idea, he's going to say no, and then that was your moment. That was your one shot. So come with some authenticity. Understand the brand and convince them. So which is why it takes so long, because it's a journey together.
Yeah.
They need to trust you to be able to and give you the keys to the kingdom. Like, why would I give you the thing that I spent a lifetime creating for you just to destroy it, right? So that's that's a concern.
Yeah, sorry, I don't want to take too much time, but Alexander just said a really important thing that the anime creators, the manga artists, they're still alive, right? You can't go to Walt Disney and say, can I do Mickey? He's not there anymore, so things are different versus Japanese anime. Anime as a medium is still very young when you think about the whole process. So just going back to patience and once again, sticking with making sure that the artists that are the original creators, they feel confident that you're going to be able to do a good job. It's that negotiation that goes back and forth that's very important.
And respect, too.
And the respect,
Not
and respect. And lots of
talking
drinking.
down. Oh, yeah, that helps, too. Yes. Chiyako, any parting words?
Yes. So now is the time because they had a domestic market, huge domestic market before, but now as society is aging, that economy is weaker. Now it's a chance for Japanese IP to snatch it.
Oh, yeah. Yes, right. It's a very open door. Yes, come in and license our
They are
IPs.
closing mine before, but now it's open.
Great. Well, that's the end. Thank you so much for attending our panel. It's been a pleasure. And thank you to the panelists.